do some Tai Chi. Start by connecting your feet. And then bring your head top up to the highest point. You see, when we start Tai Chi Harmony, we work on the two ends, yin and yang, the bottom and the top. So breathing, bring your hands together in the center. And then we'll calibrate. So get your head correct. Pull the head all the way up. Relax your brow, open the vision. Open your nostrils, your sinuses. Activate the corners of your mouth. Connect the tongue to the upper palate. Keep the chin tucked. Relax your shoulders. Make your chest hollow. Leave a little space in the armpit, in the elbows, and the wrists. Feel open. Center is supporting. Tailbone relaxed. Lower back is expanding. Insides of the hips are folded. Knees have a bend in them. Flex your ankle. Pull your heel in. Use the whole bottom surface of your foot. And then activate your toes. And so while you're standing, when you're breathing, lift the bottom. And so while we're standing here, something to think about for the internal portion of the breathing is something that I refer to as the J shape, right? So if we took a cross section of our torso and we look at it, we get this sort of what's coming up the back and the line coming up the front. So while you're standing, think of the line going just under your rib cage all the way down to the base and coming up to the top of the tailbone, the top of the coccyx here. So if you envision that line, it's like the shape of the letter J, right? And when we're breathing for this Qigong, we want to, as if there's a zipper that runs all the way along the bottom and partially up the back of the base of the spine here, as if there's a seam or a zipper. And when we're breathing on the inhale, we want to close everything in to that center line. So we're activating at the top. You have your upper abs, right? The top of the six pack. Even if you have a belly, right? Somewhere underneath there, the abdominal muscles are there. We want to fold that into the center this way. Same thing at the base of the abs. You can be working on this while you're standing, while you're breathing. The lower abs, the same thing. Connecting the hips out here in the front of the pelvis is like as if that's pulling inwards. Same thing with the genitals, the sex organs. At the base there's the perineum, and the back there's the anus, and then we have the coccyx, the tailbone. And so the same thing, while we're breathing, we want to be lifting that internally and also condensing everything to the center. Same thing with the back. So while you're standing like this, sometimes the inclination, because we're so focused on that area, is to really grip. But instead, I want you to make it more of a Tai Chi type exercise. Think of the waves coming in from the ocean, right? It's an ebb and a flow, right? And we don't have to reach maximum. You don't want to flex too much, right? There's not too much power happening. But during your day, you can think about that basic shape that goes along the base of the torso from the back to the front, activating it. This is not talking about moving chi along that space. This is sort of an external, internal practice where we're closing everything to the center, including the tailbone. And you can think of the tailbone as moving, as if you're going to, like there's some animals that have a tail and they flick their tail. If you have connections there. So activate that, lift the base, use the front. And with the breathing, you can let everything relax, and then when you inhale, seal everything up. You can reverse the pattern. Let's now expand that same idea. So make sure that your posture is correct, your head top is all the way up there. And while you're doing this breathing, think of that line, that seam that goes through the center of the body, like the base of a balloon. So that when we inhale, we want to lock that off. When we exhale, it's relaxed. Check to see that you haven't lost the half smile. You can smile more than a half smile if you like. And now, while you're doing the Qigong, while you're doing the movement and the breathing, go back to check the Tai Chi harmony principles. Is your brow relaxed? Is your face open, nostril sinuses, so that you can breathe? Is your neck straight? Are you keeping it straight through the duration of the movement? Are you activating your feet? And so all of these descriptions, these subdivisions, what your fingertips are doing, expanding the pads on your fingertips, reaching, is just one thing that your body is doing. Or at least it should be. Keep working. And so, think of when you hear a symphony playing. Unless there's a solo, oftentimes it's difficult to pinpoint a particular instrument. You hear the music. So the same with your body. We talk about opening the palms, but opening the palms is also gripping the feet and straightening the neck. Wherever you're at, do two more, going at your own pace. When you finish, return to Tai Chi harmony. Take a deep breath, relax. Let's stretch a little bit. So, lock your shoulders into place, and then, as if you could pull your head up and away, so you're stretching your neck. One teacher said it's a mystery how your head stays up there. The energy. Is it pushing up from the inside? Is it pulling? The willpower, the chi. When you come back to the center, we're going to look in four directions. We're going to look left. So keep your neck straight the whole time. Pull up on the back of the neck. And then come back to the center, combine it with the breathing. Remember, we're closing the center line. When you come back to the center, when we start to tilt the head down, I want you pushing up through the back of the neck. Don't just let your head flop, but instead, like you're craning your neck to reach your chin to your sternum. And then come back to the center, and then the same thing. Don't just flip your head back. Instead, pushing up back in an arc. You can use the breathing to accentuate the stretch. Come back to the center, take a deep breath, relax. Shoulder turns. So move from the center. Can you make the same size and shape of movement but relaxed? Do you become tense when you start to do the movement? Change direction. The same thing, allow your breathing to increase the stretch. Alternate, turn your shoulder all the way and keep your hips locked and your face facing forward, and then turn your torso, just the shoulders, pull up and back past your ear. And the same thing, breathing deep, see how relaxed you can make the extreme movement. Because if it's tense, you don't get the stretch, or the stretch is quite limited. Do we change directions? Do we need to do a few? Going the other way. Come all the way to the center. Remember to breathe. And then we're going to do two things. We're going to do a Qigong type movement, and then we're going to combine that with something else. So starting out, take a wider than shoulder width wide stance. You can think of it as a horse stance. And for the hands, we're just going to turn to the right, change, turn to the left. Change, right, left, right, left. So for the next one, that's sort of a yin exercise, very soft. We're turning the spine, and you can be shifting over each foot while you practice that to achieve a type of Tai Chi. So one side is yang, the other side is yin, changing back to the other. And then the opposite is, and we can shift on this one as well. Shift right, left. For this, turn your torso, turn the waist. We're still looking in the same direction. Are you remembering to grip your center line while you work? In fact, let's take a break for a second from this. Think of this center line, earlier I said like a balloon. Imagine when you seal this, when you're breathing in through your nose, the mouth is closed, the tongue is connected to the upper palate. That when you close that, it allows the rest of the body to expand more around that center line. So let's go back to the more relaxed one. Practice your breathing. Practice engaging that center line, the J shape. Go at your own pace, breathe at your own pace, but I want you to feel by closing that when you breathe that your lungs feel as if they can expand all around that line. Come back to the center. Relax. Make your feet at least shoulder width wide. We're going to talk more about turning around the center. We're going to talk about the yin and yang. Tai Chi is based on a yin yang. The symbol, the Tai Chi symbol, the Taijitu. So our practice, let's change again. Allow your feet to touch. You can keep your feet separated if it's easier for balance. Fold your spine. Relax your head and neck. Push your tailbone towards the ceiling. And if you like to get more of a stretch, you can pull your torso closer. Remember to breathe. When you're ready, grip your feet. Inflate all the way. And relax. Let's do one more of those. So fully relax your spine, your shoulders, your arms. If you don't like to touch the ground, you can rest your hands on your feet. And see if you can feel the blood. Relax your back, the energy, the chi, blood flow. You're breathing in your back, moving with gravity. When you feel that, grip your feet, anchor yourself to the ground, unroll your spine, breathe, inflate all the way, lock the center line, keep the tongue in the correct place. Relax. Let's do a little bit of leg stretching. Shoulder width wide, shoulder width deep. Important to fold the inside hip here so that the abdomen starts to fold against the inside of the thigh. Stretch on your own. Remember to breathe. Pull your toe up and either straighten your neck or look up as high as you can, one or the other. Reach. Breathe deep. Push forward. Change. Shoulder width wide, shoulder width deep. Fold the inside hip. Reach. Pull your toe towards your nose. Reach further. When you're ready, push forward through. We're going to do one more of those on each side. Fold the inside hip. Change on your own. Push forward. Okay, so we have been working in the second section towards the end of the second section. And I think after Embrace the Tiger, we've done this turning, kicking. And after that, there's only a few movements that conclude the second section. And they're all stuff that repeats already. In fact, stuff that ends the first section. So when we're going to do the first section and we're going to do the second section together. But when we're practicing, I want you to have the yin and yang, the Tai Chi symbol in your mind. And this Tai Chi symbol, let's go back to this silk reeling exercise that we do. The Tai Chi symbol applies to everything in the Tai Chi form. But sometimes we're hiding it. So in this particular case, my arm, my right arm, I consider the yang arm. It's active. If there was something to my side and I like to move it out of the way, it has the power, the pressure, the movement is going to happen because of the yang. This other hand is yin. It's hollow, it's empty. It has the same shape, but inside the intention is different. One is expanding, the other is ready. We don't exert the energy until we need to. So, and we only exert one half until we need to. So this is yin and yang occurring everywhere, between the hands, between the feet. As I shift, one side becomes lighter, the other side becomes heavier. Where's another place we can see that we don't normally think about yin-yang? What if in the second section, when the second section starts, we turn back to look at the moon, and we want to extend our power, right? By doing a sharp punch. The same in the first section. We have a lot of crane, opening the wings, brushing, pressing, but we have a movement holding the moon in the chest, right? That we can practice yang, very yang. So there's places where the yang comes out. We don't normally show that, holding the moon in the chest. We're conserving that energy. But I want you to think about the yin and yang, the Tai Chi symbol, because it applies to everything. When we do Rufeng Sabi, the shape is a half circle with a paisley that comes back to the center. If there's not questions, comments from stuff that you're working on or what I've been talking about, let's do Tai Chi. And look for the yin and yang. When we practice Tai Chi, by the way, the style that we're practicing, we keep the same height. So as a workout for people learning the form, so that it's not confusing adding another yin yang. But if you watch our teacher TC videos of him later, he's changing the height quite dramatically. But if you think of traditional, or you're trying to make something uniform, you want to keep as if it's locked on a level the whole time. This will help you increase your balance, increase your leg strength, and then later, once you understand more of the yin-yang and where the sinking and rising happen in the torso, you can add that back to your form. Let's practice Tai Chi. Pick a space to the right of center. Make sure that you're visible on camera. Pull the head top up, activate your feet, relax your shoulders. Starting from Tai Chi Harmony, bring your mind into the Dantian. And with your mind in the Dantian, imagine in your third eye spot the Tai Chi symbol, yin-yang, two halves separated by an S shape with the dot of the opposing side on either side. And then breathing, we're going to do commencement. Right, grasp the sparrow's tail. Draw the Tai Chi symbol. Left, ward off. Breathing. Left, grasp the sparrow's tail. Square step. Right, ward off. Roll back. Join the palms together. Press right to the center. Push. Look left. Glance right. Double press. Horizontal split. Hook. Single whip. Turning back to the north, The arms fall naturally to the center, split, brush, and then rolling up, rolling back down, half circle down, turning. This is crane, opening the wings. Play the harp, brush knee, press to the center. Tuebu. Crane. Play the harp. Continuous movement. C-step. Press. Brush knee. C-step. Press. Holding the moon in the chest. Right up the center line, the J shape. Punch. Ban Lan Shui. Ban Lan Shui, number 2. Left. Open. Focus power. Ban Lan Shui, number 3. Move. Parry. Punch. Ru Feng. Si. Return tiger to mountain. We're continuing to the second section. Right foot centers. Left foot forms a T. Right foot steps to the square. Palm press to the center. Breathe deep. Roll back. Press. Push. Look left. Glance right. Double press. Horizontal. Split. Hook. Turn back to look at the moon. Right hand covers, left hand spear fist through the center. Moving backwards for repulse the monkey. Press. Opening the right side for Sher Fei. Shoulder bump. Expand. Continuous movement right into Haidi Zhang. San Tong Bei. Turning. Block. Punch. Kick. Square step. Lan. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Shui. Head top up. Di Wu Hua. Change step. Roll back. Turning east. Press. Look left. Glance right. Double press. Horizontal. Split. Hook. This is a side whip. The feet are parallel, at least shoulder width wide. Cloud hands, right and left. Cloud hands 2, right, left, 3, right, left. Hook. Corner whip, stepping square. Reach over the tall horse. Reach over the tall horse facing south. We're turning to the east. Scoop. Brush. Press. brush knee, C-step, press, brush knee, straight step, punch. We have a rock step before we turn, 180, block, punch, kick, square step, long, shui. This is called zhou, bend the bar. Kick, da li is big rollback. Embrace a tiger. Da li, embrace a tiger. Scoop the moon from the ocean. Kick, brush. Two winds entering the ears. Step back, pull left, kick left, turning. 1, 2, pull with the right side, kick with the right side, block, punch, kick, west, lan, shui, ru feng, si, turning back to the north, return tiger to mountain, block, gravity punch, use the momentum to return back to the center. Questions, thoughts, comments, ideas. So last week we were looking at, I think we started looking at Scoop the Moon from the Ocean and Two Winds Going in the Air. And I think we should sort of at least cover that again before we move away from the second section. Oh, we could also re-review this turning part because that's quite, people have questions about it often. So let's do the second section from, actually from straight step punch, because we have brush knee, press, brush knee, straight step punch, and then we do this turn. So that'll give us a chance to practice some different types of movements. So facing the direction that we would call east, we're going to start the form in the form for straight step punch. This is a good place to practice this rock step. What I'm doing is I'm shifting back to my rear foot so that when I step forward, I can pivot or pivot step facing the other direction. So after my straight step punch, I shift to my rear foot, and then I put my other foot back to the corner of the square where I'm going to be facing. So I don't know if my square that I'm drawing on the ground is showing up on camera, but if my square is facing this way from my punch, when I turn, this is the new corner of the square, right? So I have another square shape that's here. And that's what I want to do is, if I'm doing straight step punch here, I'm going to shift back so that I can move forward and turn. What does it look like from the other way, right? This way. If I punch this way, I'm going to shift back so I can move forward and turn, right? There's punch, shift, step, turn. In fact, this, depending on how you do it, you can still be sinking back into that pivot step at the end of that movement. So after I punch, when I step here, instead of launching back that way, I can sink back here and still be blocking, punching, kicking. This is a very good way to turn around when you have a self-defense type situation. If I'm working in this direction and there's somebody behind me, if I cover my head, reaching over here, right, I have protection at least from this side and a good portion of here. So I'm reaching, like I have something back here behind my neck, and I'm going to reach over. The analogy I use is the old-timey science fiction shows where they have a big glass spacesuit helmet thing. Imagine that you have a big glass dome like that, and you take your hand from the back and you're just going to make a half circle to the front. It's going to come down a little bit further than what a helmet would. But the idea is the same, like you have a big halo running forwards instead of horizontally. So let's look at the movement. Punch, I shift back, reaching behind to turn. So my hand sort of stays in place. That way if there's something back there, it's behind me the whole time, right? And then once that foot is planted, even if I'm still sinking back, this other hand and foot are going to make the yin-yang this way. So, straight step punch, step, turn, block punch kick. And what's the difference between the sinking step or the receding step and static is from this punch, if I take a big step, I can sink back. But if I like to practice Tai Chi as a moving meditation, and I don't want to have this such a dramatic change between yin and yang, from my straight step punch, I can simply turn, maintain balance on this foot, as opposed to sinking back into it and continue the form. This is the yin and yang. The yin is the softer. When I'm practicing, I'm just balancing on that foot. I'm not sinking back into it. As opposed to the yang, we want to practice Tai Chi Kung Fu. Change between one and the other is more dynamic, more dramatic. You can practice Tai Chi both ways correctly, and you need to find the balance between the two. So we turn, block, punch, kick, square step, lan, shui. By the way, let's make a note. In Tai Chi, we are never falling into a posture. We can do it because it's convenient if we lose our balance. But what I mean by that is, if we're doing a one-footed stance, we should never be, because of balance, compelled to take another step. So, and I just actually did that a second ago. After my punch, I turned and shifted, and I'm out of balance, so I have to step, right? That's trying to go too quick. Trying to move too fast a lot of times can make mistakes. So this block punch kick is separate from the step. There's a movement here. After the movement, then we can step. This applies to everything. In the first section, when we do Ban Lan Shui, this is a movement, right? We don't step until that movement is complete. Some people will put just the tip of the heel onto the ground. You can do that. But the same with any of these. We don't want to feel like we're falling. If we have block, punch, kick, there's that movement. Then we take a step, lan, or lan can be both feet. Shui is here. Let's go back to where we were a second ago. Jinbu Zai Shui, straight step, punch. Rock step, block, punch, kick. Square step, lan, shui, so hua. Peel off, kick, and then the big roll back. You can step your foot back a little bit or very far. And it's like a moving roll back. We're turning 180 degrees the other direction, and then embrace the tiger. Now the same, big rollback. I'm turning on my heel. I'm dragging something 180 degrees, and then my center also moving directly in the cardinal direction, west. From here I'm turning to the corner, southwest. Scoop the moon from the ocean. coming up through the center, and then turning to press down. And then almost a very similar movement, brushing from over top, and then let the recoil come up through the spine and the arms to rest at the end of the fingertips, the hands. Let's do that whole section again. Straight step punch. Turning, rock step, block punch kick, square step, lan, shui, so hua, kick, big rollback, turning 180 degrees, embrace the tiger, big rollback, 180 degrees, embrace the tiger. Left foot steps behind the right. Scoop the moon from the ocean. Up through the center. Kick. Brush down the center. Recoil. Air fong, one air. Let's do that one more time. Straight step punch. Turning, rock step, keep your balance, grip your foot, block punch kick, control the step, breathing, lan, shui, so hua, peel off, kick, take as many steps as you like, embrace the tiger, embrace the tiger. Facing the southwest, scoop the moon from the ocean. Brush. One more time. Punch, rock step, block punch kick, square step, open, focus power, left deflect, peel off, big roll back, embrace the tiger, big roll back number 2, embrace the tiger, scoop the moon from the ocean, brush, 2 winds in the air. Okay, before we continue, if anybody heard me say something like, take as many steps as you like for big rollback. With this, after we do this movement, this big rollback can actually be very dynamic. What I'm practicing here is 1 step, pivot, turn. You can do it in 1 step. It can be very, very yin, very meditative, right? If we want to practice outside in our garden, in our backyard, and we're just trying to do the movements, we can practice embrace the tiger as such. But when you like to practice Kung Fu, something yang, right, the Tai Chi extreme difference, the kick, we can take, how many steps is that, right? Let's find out. Kick. I have 1, 2. When I turn, I launch. 3. Can you do it in more? We don't like to add things on purpose. There's no, Tai Chi doesn't have any, some martial arts, the people say, oh, it's no good because they have these flowery movements. Tai Chi doesn't have that. The reason the hands move the way that they do is because of aerodynamics, literally. Later we'll get into the shape of the palm based on speed. But here, the same. Big rollback. You can make a big rollback with 2 steps by taking very big steps. Step way back again. Only 2 steps. Perhaps there's a way to jump off the second foot, clear a very big distance. let's continue, unless there's questions, thoughts, comments, ideas. Okay, so what happens next? Let's do embrace 2 winds in the ear. Because this one, you have to sort of imagine your opponent in front of you. You see, I can do 2 winds in the ear 2 different ways. Scoop the moon from the ocean, kick, brush. And then once I do that brush, my arms can just come all the way back up. So they circling. So after I do this, they're coming to here. The other way to do it is after I brush, come back to the inside and then go back outside. So that, like the Tai Chi shape, like 1/2 of the figure 8, right? An S or a backwards S. And this variation between the two depends on what your opponent is doing and also how much power you like to deliver. So if your opponent is on the outside, they have their arms like this. You see there's some space, right? You're dealing with a larger opponent. We may not be able to reach our arms around their grip to strike somewhere on their center line. If that's the case, if we're dealing with a large opponent, perhaps even some animal, we can't reach around. We have to reach up through the center. But we use their structure like a pinball machine. So my arms, when they're coming up the center, they're in free fall. Just like in the first section, when we do this one, right? This movement, when we turn and kick, that free floating, the power returned from here is free floating back up because it's going to bounce off of the inside of their arm. So it comes up. We use their arm as a guide for that power and momentum to return back to the center, right? It has this coiling shape. Let's practice it a few times together, right? So let's go from, let's actually just go from the end of this one, right? So after we've cleared the leg, right, we can do one of 2 things. Either continue, so your arms just making a half circle up. They've gone down the front and they're going up. What's the purpose of this, by the way? In the form, this is a good place for when we talk about yin-yang. When you're meditating, you can practice so slow, so soft. But if you have some audience, they're watching for some time, and you feel the Tai Chi is boring and you like to spice it up, you can hit with power. You can produce a yang effect, right? But we're not hitting ourselves. The purpose is the opponent is somehow trying to hold our leg, and we're literally just narrowly missing our leg on each side for the application. But in the form, you can hit. There's good acupressure purpose for strike the leg, right? Something like this. So, hit, and then you see my hands, they're just drifting here because I'm stopping them. But I can, after I hit, return the power to the top, or they go out, they come back in and return. So this is where we want the body to be so relaxed that we can send power out. And in this case, we learned this at the first section, right? This double punch. We're rooted to the ground, power traveling through the body. Same type of feeling, but now we're steering that power. We're adding either a half circle or an S shape that goes inside and then back out. So, after the brush down, just do a circle. Brush down, circle. Brush down, circle. Brush, circle. By the way, this power is also returning to us. So it's not just, if my target is there, it's not just spiraling into place this way. It's also returning back, right? It's coming back this way. So, circle. Now try some the other way. Make a yin-yang that comes back up. And feel where on that second half you can add a little bit of momentum. So brush, come back up and around. By the way, I'm adding on that second half, I'm shifting back. So after I brush, I'm shifting back to gain the momentum and shifting forward to send my power up into the arms. Remember earlier we said the body is like a symphony. It's like a big orchestra. And we can break down individual parts. Loosen your wrist. Right? Exercise your fingers. These are individual players in the band. It's telling us we have just a few minutes left. But when everything is orchestrated, when everything is working together, is what we're looking for in Tai Chi, holistic. There's only one body. You only have one dantian, one center. We can find the centers for other individual parts, but if there's just one. So this the same way. After we brush, if the body is coordinated, the chi, like a wave, coming up through my body and extending out through my arms, needs a very relaxed vessel for the energy to move through it. So this is where we say, when you have resistance, the power can't flow, right? You need to be relaxed to reduce the resistance. It's telling us it's time. So I think from here we have already covered, after we do 2 winds in the ears, the stepping back, pull left, kick left, or the extended. We said there's a yin-yang. That's the easy one, the simple one, basic, one side. But I can also transfer that to the other side and do something fancier. We've reviewed that already, so let's plan next week to do another quick review of those kicks, and then get into the first from the the first custom posture from the third section, which is wild horse shaking its mane. Feet shoulder width wide, breathing. Here we're going to do, I want you to focus on the J shape of reverse. When you're breathing, let everything open and expand. And then, as you finish your breath, close that center line back off, all the way down and all the way back here. So, inflating, and it's still open, and then as I compress the energy down in, like we're using the center as a chi compactor to compress all the chi into the dantian. Keep breathing. Go at your own pace. Check to see that you have a very serious expression. I know some people on the West Coast is very early, or it's early enough that you're missing your Saturday morning cartoons. It might be a cultural thing, but you can still at least have a half smile if you can't watch cartoons. So open, 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 and then like you're stuffing a bag, you're filling up a vessel and you want to close this. Imagine the chi has a substance and you want to compress that substance down into the vessel. So everything's open, lock the base, lock the bottom, close. And it wouldn't be a qigong unless you had something in your mind. So with that half smile, use your imagination. Do 2 more. Go at your own pace. Make it the most relaxed, deepest breath of the week. When you finish, return to Tai Chi harmony, and then put your mind back into the dantian, into your center. Imagine just moving your mind to the dantian, you can recalibrate your body. Take a second to smile to yourself inwardly. Internally, you don't have to make a sound. Take a second to exercise your gratitude practice. Take a chance to give thanks to yourself. Even if you don't like yourself, other people do. So you can take a second to smile. Be grateful that you have the chi, the mind to learn Tai Chi. Take one long last deep breath. And that's it. Call, text, write.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you, guys.